All right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for jumping on this training today. We're so excited to be able to cover an important topic, one that has always been, for me, the most important of all the topics, and that has to do with what we call longevity. So when we're working hard, we're out there, building our home-based business. We're trying to, create something that's going to leave a legacy and create true residual income for the rest of our lives and everything. We want it to last, right? We want something that's going to be around for a while. We don't want to have to keep starting over, right, with different things. And so one of the things you want to look at when you're looking at an opportunity is the stability behind it, and but more importantly is to actually do our part so that it can last, so that it doesn't end up having problems with whether it's the government or or other entities or just even fraudulent people, things like that. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about compliance. We're going to talk about how to recognize scams. We're going to talk about how to make sure we're doing our part to, make sure we don't get in trouble with like the FTC and some of these other government agencies, right? That is the most important thing so that we can have something that will last, that we can inherit to our kids and grandkids and so on, that becomes generational wealth, right? So let's talk a little bit about longevity and what it means. So the first thing we just really have to understand is the golden rule, right? We've all heard the golden rule, to treat others the way we would like to be treated. Now, this is taught in all religions, all philosophies, all cultures, right? This is something that can be found all over the world. Doesn't matter which country you're from or what traditions you believe in. It's the basic thing. It's the bottom line. Treat others the way you want to be treated. So if we're always thinking about others and how their interests are affected, we can be successful, right? And we can make sure it's going to be around. Otherwise, it's like being a parasite that kills the host, right? We don't want to be a parasite. We don't want to be the one that they just come in and we suck all the blood and then the host dies and then so we die, right? We don't want that. We want things to last. We want things to be around. And so it does require sometimes being a little bit more patient, right? Being a little bit more considerate and, just dealing with certain things a little bit longer and not being so selfish and egotistical, right? So if we can do that, that's the first and foremost that we got to do, to believe in and live the golden rule. Okay, now, the second thing we want to look at is it legal, right? So this is an experience I had. I learned this lesson back in 2010. All right, 2010, 2011 timeframe, I got involved with this company right here. It's called TVI Express. And it sounded good, right? They said, oh, all you got to do is come in, you pay $250 one time, and then, you don't have to worry about it ever again. All you got to do is just invite a few more people. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, you'll get a payout of $10,000, right? And I thought, wow, that sounds awesome. I only have to pay in $250, invite a few people, and then in a few months I get to cash out $10,000. That sounds great, right? And I thought it was the best thing ever. And it was a travel thing, right? It was about, you were buying access to a travel portal for $250, but long story short, I ended up inviting a couple people, and about a month later, I was just inches away from getting that $10,000 payout when all of a sudden the thing collapsed. The government came in, the FTC shut it down, and I lost my money, right? I lost my $250. There was no way to get it back. The people I invited were angry with me. They were upset. They said, why did you do this to us? Right. And then, and that continued internationally for a while. But then, of course, you can see here in the article in 2013, the owner got arrested, right, in India, and it was completely done worldwide. But it got shut down in the US first. So I learned my lesson. I said, the get rich quick stuff, right? Hey, just put in a little bit of effort and make all this money. It's not real. That's what makes it illegal, right? And so you want to avoid anything that looks like it's going to be too easy, because it probably is. All right. Now, the second thing is part of this is it compliant, right? So per the FTC, right, Federal Trade Commission, they have some guidance for the direct sales industry regarding retail sales, right? And this is what they say: at the heart of a legitimate referral program are real sales to real customers. Okay, so for companies acting within the law, the business is driven by selling products to real customers. That is what you got to look for. If you can legit say, hey, you know what? I am actually selling a real product to a real customer, somebody that's buying it just because they like it, just because they see the value in it, not because there's a promise of $10,000 at the end, right? But because they actually see, oh, this works for me. This is something I want to use. This is something that's going to benefit my life. I will pay for it. And they're legit using it, not because they want to make money. Wow, that's a real retail sale. Okay, so what do we talk about? That's a real customer, right? They actually are buying and using the product being sold. So that's really fun, is when you actually have true customers that are coming in and they see, oh, there's real value in what is being offered here, and they'll continue to purchase it, even though it's not about them trying to get to a certain rank or a certain income. Okay, that if we can show that, and we can show that it's abundant, then the FTC is going to give us their thumbs up. They're going to be like, hey, cool, you guys are rocking. All right. Now, the other thing is that we have to be really careful about is the ratio. Okay. So several years ago, the FTC went in and they had some complaints against Herbalife and Vima. All right. Now, these two companies both sold nutritional type products. And what was happening was they were kind of over promoting the side of, the distributors, right? Those that were trying to do it as a business and make money. Okay. They didn't have any focus on the retail sales. So what happened? The court went in and said, hey, you guys need to dismantle your system. You need to restructure your compensation, right? Your pay structure and everything, and have more of a focus on the retail sales. Herbalife did so, and they're still in business. Bima didn't, and they are gone. Okay, so it doesn't matter who's the president, it doesn't matter who's running the FTC, any of that, because ultimately victims cannot be ignored. People that get promised something and then they realize later it was just it was a scam, right? It wasn't what they were told. That's what pyramid schemes are, right? Doesn't matter how you dress them up, they're unsustainable. And so if people join and lose money, then it's going to get you in trouble. So over time, the amount of people who have lost money, it just continues to grow. That's what happens with those things until it reaches a tipping point and triggers a regulatory investigation, right? Doesn't matter how much effort you put in, doesn't matter what your enroller tells you, doesn't matter what you've been led to believe by the company itself. If you're working an unsustainable business model, you're going to lose the money. It's not going to last. It's going to disappear on you, okay? And we don't want that. We don't want something to disappear on us. We want it to last. All right. Now, the other thing we need to understand is when we're talking hundreds of thousands of victims collectively, right, losing hundreds of millions of dollars through unsustainable business models, no court in the United States is going to rule in favor of the scammer. They're just not. Okay, you can't justify it. You can't say, oh, well, there's so many people doing it or whatever. It doesn't matter. Okay, the bottom line is you have to have a legit business model. You have to have a legit product that people will buy anyway, even if there's no money making involved, right? And then it can be something that will last. Now, the good news is there's a bunch of companies, right, networking companies, that have taken the initiative to abolish any kind of mandatory internal consumption and or retail disincentives, and as well as avoiding any kind of investment type thing, right, with a true focus on customers. And that is what's going to make it successful, right? What we are doing, okay, we have the absolute best way to do this to make sure we're compliant. You can sign up as many free members as you want. And we expect at least a 10-to-1 ratio of members to promoters, right? Think about that. what we're able to do, we're able to go and get so many just members, right? What we would consider free customers involved, who are going to want to use the product and services. They're going to be happy with it. And then just maybe they'll say, hey, you know what? I might want to be a promoter, right? It's a totally different way of thinking about it. Whereas most MLMs or network marketing companies, they focus on the, hey, go recruit, other promoters, go recruit other distributors and get them in, and then let's focus on maybe getting a few customers, right? No, here we're focused on go get 1,000 customers, and maybe have those 1,000, maybe 5 or 6 or 10 or 100 will want to be promoters too. It's flipping it on its head. Okay, so the other thing is no purchase required. In other words, your direct member volume counts to qualify you, so you don't have to buy a thing as long as you have members participating. Remember? So that's the important thing with what we're doing with the rewards or referral program, is that there is no purchase required. Now, obviously, you want to have the product yourself. Why wouldn't you? You're saving money and all of that, and you want to be a product of the product. And of course, right, you want to have personal examples of using it and stuff. But it's not a requirement. You're not forced to have a membership to be able to participate. All you have to do is just to have brought people to the table who do. Okay, so we're really super legal and compliant in every way with what we're doing. It's amazing. All right, now here's the other thing that we want to be really careful with: income and product claims. Right? These are the things that can get you fined or even land you in jail. Right? So don't go down that road. All right. So the first one is it has to do with income claims. All right. And what that means is you don't want to show off your paycheck. Right. You don't want to take screenshots of your pay wallet to promote and recruit people. Don't do that. That's a big no-no. All right. That is considered enticement. That's the word for it. It's called enticement, and it's criminal. Okay. Whenever we talk about income, we always need to refer to the official referral plan information and use a disclaimer that the results that we're getting are not guaranteed, right? And that they will vary depending on skill and effort and so on. Okay. Always make sure, if you ever show, how much you're making, or even lifestyle sometimes can be an enticement, right? So we ought to always be careful. And when we're recruiting, especially if it's online, right? Now, if you're, talking to just an individual, right? You're sitting down with somebody at lunch and you just happen to show them, on your phone, kind of what's going on with your business. Okay, that's one thing, right? That's like, okay, personal, one-on-one. Hey, you know what? This is kind of what I'm doing, and and all that. But you definitely don't want to do a screenshot and put it out on your Facebook or on your Instagram or wherever, making it completely public, trying to recruit people. I mean, that'll get you shut down in a heartbeat. Okay, so don't do that. The other one is for products, right? So with product claims, you cannot claim that any product will cure any medical condition or treat any kind of diseases, right? Products can enhance or supplement a healthy lifestyle, but they cannot be the specific solution to any specific condition. So you can't say, hey, this miracle juice will cure your cancer, right? That will get you so banned. You have no idea. No, and the FTC, they're watching, right? They're always watching people. You always have enemies out there that will report you, right? And they'll say, oh, this guy is, sharing stuff that's inappropriate. So just be really careful. Don't do income claims. Don't do product claims. Don't guarantee any kind of income, right? Always do the disclaimer and say, hey, these are just examples, and this is the potential, and yeah, it does require effort and work and stuff, and and if we work together, we could potentially get there and whatever. But don't treat it like, hey, this is a guarantee you're going to make 10 grand a month, right? Never ever. Okay. Now, the other thing that's really important to understand is we always have to realize companies are going to go through constant improvement. Okay. So without constant improvement, the company, the product, or the referral plan will get disrupted, right? So we got to find out where the world is going and get there first. We have to be open and flexible to adjustments that could potentially happen, right? And not get flustered by them, not get upset if something changes, something, obviously the company's always going to try and improve, okay? But every once in a while, for whatever reason, it could be a legal reason, it could be, a certain situation that happened, that they have to make adjustments. And we have to be open to that and flexible and willing, right? Willing to change, with the times and everything, and not get set in our ways. Okay, so if we can do that and realize that the company's looking out for our best interest, just like, hey, nobody wanted to stick with the old iPhone 3 when the iPhone 4 came out, right? That was part of making it better and improving, and that's always going to be happening. All right. The other thing is universality. This is something we want to look at. For something for longevity is, it's got to be as universal as possible, right? So travel as a service protects us from commoditization, all right? That's a hard word to say, commoditization. All right, so the thing about physical products, unfortunately, is that they get commoditized. Right? What does that mean? So Monavie was a big company. They were one of the fastest growing companies in the history of networking. They got to $1 billion in like 3 years, right? And their product was acai juice. Okay, but what happened was they got commoditized. In other words, Walmart and Costco all of a sudden decided, hey, you know what? We're going to sell the same thing, but instead of $100 a bottle, we're going to sell it for just $6 a bottle, right? So they got commoditized, okay? Same thing with Nani juice, okay? Nani juice from Mirinda, right? It was a big thing for a long time, $50 a bottle, and they were selling it, making money. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you can buy Nani juice, right, for $11 on Amazon. So we want to avoid being commoditized. And with what we have, it's something people will always do, right? People always have and always will travel. Okay, they always will. That hasn't changed in hundreds of years. Okay, it's not something that can get commoditized. So really huge having something that is universal and won't get commoditized and disappear like Monavie did. They disappeared after only like 4 or 5 years and they were gone, right? And we want something to be long lasting, to have that longevity. It's got to be something that people will continue to use far into the future. Okay, the other thing is we don't want to have a lottery mentality, right? Easy come, easy go. People are always looking for that magic potion that will let them get rich with no effort. It doesn't exist, right? Buying a lottery ticket is clearly an irrational act. The odds are hugely stacked against you, but many millions of people do it anyway because we see the powerful evidence that an ordinary person, someone just like us, whose only qualifying act was to buy a ticket, wins every week, right? But it is only one person. Why not join the millions who actually win by taking action and making it happen? That's our message, okay? Just like Ray Kroc, founder of McDonald's, said, I was an overnight success, all right, but 30 years is a long, long night, okay? Or Steve Seibold said, average people have a lottery mentality, but rich people have an action mentality. So that's what we're all about. We're about coming in and taking action and making it happen, not just waiting for dumb luck. All right. Now, the other thing is having a foundation. All right. So I love this quote from Henry David Thoreau. He said, if you have built castles in the air, your work need not be lost, for that is where they should be built. Now, go place the foundations under them. We have a castle in the air. We have something amazing, right? We have something that's never been done before. We have something that can change people's lives, get them out of the house and get them creating memories and spending time with their families and, and having more quality of life and all of that. It's real. But you know what? We now need to go put the foundations. Okay, we need to go and build a solid foundation so that it doesn't crash down. It doesn't come tumbling down on us. And that takes action, that takes effort, that takes some sacrifice. Okay, but it's doable. And if we do it, then that castle will stay afloat. That castle will stay in the clouds, and it will be a blessing for us and our posterity and for decades to come. So let's go build that foundation. And then finally, the law of the harvest. Okay. So simply stated, the law of the harvest says that in life, we will reap what we sow. We will reap more than we sow, and we will reap later than we sow. Remember that. We will reap what we sow, but it will be more, but it will be later. Okay. So good choices, like seeds, ultimately bring forth good fruit as a reward. Bad choices, like bad seeds, will ultimately bring bad fruit as a consequence. Okay. So James Allen said, the law of the harvest is to reap more than you sow. Sow an act and you reap a habit. Sow a habit and you reap a character. Sow a character and you reap a destiny. And then Stephen Covey, famous author of The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, said, the only thing that endures over time is the law of the farm. You must prepare the ground, plant the seed, cultivate, and water if you expect to reap the harvest. So, my friends, let's do this. Let's go and make what we're doing a legacy. Let's make sure that there's longevity involved by following all these steps, by being compliant, right? By understanding the law of the harvest, by going out and building those foundations under our castle in the sky, okay? And it will turn into something that will not only bless our lives, but bless the lives of others. Let's live the golden rule and think more about others than ourselves. And next thing we know, we'll be on the beaches of the world, sharing a drink, sharing holding hands with our loved ones, creating those memories that will last forever. Thanks so much for joining me today. Hopefully this was helpful for you and motivating. It was for me. And anyway, we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care. Have a great day.